All right, we're diving into one of rock's greatest final acts ever. We're talking about David Bowie's explosive and totally secret last burst of creativity. It's an amazing story about genius, control, and how he turned his own goodbye into a final piece of art. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button because you're not going to want to miss this. Let's do it.
I mean, for what? 30 years? You literally couldn't escape David Bowie. He wasn't just some musician, you know? He was this constant, always changing force that shaped everything. Music, fashion, art, you name it.
The guy was the ultimate chameleon, right? I mean, he gave us Ziggy Stardust, the Thin White Duke, and every single persona wasn't just a cool costume. No, it was a whole new world that literally changed the game for music.
But here's the crazy thing. For all that fame, all that spectacle, the real guy, David Jones, was a total mystery. It's like the more Bowie we got, the less we actually knew about the man behind the mask.
And then, bam. After this really scary health incident right on stage in 2004, he just disappeared. Like poof, gone. Vanished from the public eye completely.
So of course, the whole world was asking, what happened? Did he just retire? Was he sick? What really went down in that secret final chapter of his life?
Okay, so first up, the Starman vanishes. That disappearing act from 2004 all the way to 2013, it was all just setting the stage for one of the biggest, most secret comebacks in rock history.
9 years. I mean, think about that for a second. In our 24/7 world, that's an eternity. For 9 solid years, it was just radio silence. Everybody basically just figured, well, I guess the Starman has retired for good.
Until January 2013, out of absolutely nowhere, this song, Where Are We Now, just drops. And just like that, Bowie was back. And yeah, everybody completely lost their mind.
So the big question is, how on earth did he keep a whole album the next day, a total secret in the age of the internet? Well, he basically ran it like a spy mission.
And his plan was so simple, it was brilliant. Step 1, call your closest friends, your most trusted musicians, like bassist Gail Ann Dorsey. Step 2, make them swear an oath of absolute silence. No leaks, no hints, nothing. The mission was the only thing that mattered.
So why all this secrecy? Well, he was just sick of it. He was so tired of the internet leaking everything and spoiling the magic. He wanted to go back to the old days, you know, when an album would just show up. No hype, no spoilers, just the music. He was taking back control. And he even made a joke out of it. At the end of every single recording session, he'd do this whole dramatic thing where he'd snatch all the sheet music from everyone's stands and then lock it all away in his leather briefcase. He was basically playing the role of a secret agent, and it was hilarious.
But this whole secret mission also revealed something huge. The man running the show, he wasn't one of his rock god personas anymore. This time, it was just David Jones.
And this comparison says it all. His guitarist, Earl Slick, tells this story about how back in the 70s, their sessions ran on, well, cocaine. But for the next day, the fuel was espresso and biscotti. It's just wow. He went from this wild rock god to a sober family man who was 100% focused on the work.
See, this whole time, it wasn't about him retiring. It was about him finding freedom. He didn't need the crazy costumes or the characters anymore to be creative. He was finally just comfortable being himself. And you can hear that liberation all over the music.
And on top of all that, the guy was just hilarious. Get this, to break the ice with a brand new band who were probably terrified to be there, he didn't give some big speech. Nope, he just put on a record by this completely absurd artist called the legendary Stardust Cowboy. And within minutes, the whole room was crying with laughter. The tension was gone, just like that.
But here's the thing. While the whole world was celebrating his comeback, Bowie was secretly preparing for his most profound work ever. He was meticulously crafting his own goodbye into a masterpiece.
And you have to understand this part. He was secretly battling cancer. Almost nobody knew. But was he slowing down? No way. He was actually speeding up, working on 2 huge, complicated projects at the exact same time.
Those 2 projects? The mind-blowing album Blackstar and the off-Broadway play Lazarus? The creative ambition is just staggering, especially for someone who is that sick.
And he was only looking forward. There's a great story where the saxophonist Donnie McCaslin told him he was listening to all his old hits to get ready. Bowie's response was basically, "Nah, that's my old stuff. I'm into something new now."
He didn't care about his legacy. He only cared about what was next. And this is so important. He absolutely refused to let his illness define the work. He never ever mentioned it in the studio. For him, the art was the only thing that mattered. And he was all in on finishing his vision for Lazarus and Blackstar, right up to the very end. Which brings us to the final encore. And this one last story, it just shows you exactly how he said goodbye. It was private, it was personal, and it was completely on his own terms.
So his longtime friend, Earl Slick, tells this story. On Bowie's last birthday, just a few months before he passed, he called him up. They didn't talk about anything heavy. They just laughed, told stories about their families, just had a really nice chat. Bowie never said a word about being sick, and it was only after he was gone that Slick realized what that call really was. It was a goodbye, a perfect, personal David Bowie goodbye.
So in the end, Bowie's final message wasn't some note he wrote. It was his art, and it still resonates so powerfully. It really makes you think, right? If you could leave one final message to the world through your work, what would it be? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to read them. And hey, if you like this explainer, please hit that like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for hanging out with me.